It's that time again. It's the Berkey and the Badger Board Game Babble Show. It's going to get wild. It's going to get wacky. It might even get a little zany. We're going to talk about board games and the board game industry. And, you know, we might talk about anything else we want to talk about. Hey, hey, hey.
Ho, ho,
it's
ho.
the... Ho, ho. Hey, hey. Ho, ho, hey. Hey, ho.
Next time we'll organise that so it's like hey ho and ho hey ho hey.
It could get off the rails really quick, couldn't it? Hey, welcome to the Berkey and Badger Board Game Babble podcast that is featuring the Woods of Evergreen. The Woods of Evergreen. We have a drop for the Woods.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's the wrong one. Which is, it should have been this one.
And here we are, just outside the castle of Babylot, where King Berkey and his little jester Badger like to stroll around, looking at board games that were planted in the years gone by, and seeing which of these are still standing in the Woods of Evergreen.
Hey, hey, hey!
Hey, ho, ho, ho! Ho, 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 ho.
Oh, things go off the rails the wrong way that way.
Well, we're here getting ready to go through our top 5 games of years 2011 through 2020. And I got to tell you, Badger, this was agonizing. I've never put together a top 100 list. I know we've talked about doing it before, and we've talked about doing it a top 50. Well, we've went in the last 10 years from this time period, and we each ranked our top 3 games, and then we did it twice. So that's 6 games each we ranked over this 10-year span. So that's 60 games that I've ranked that I feel are games that are going to stand the test of time, that not necessarily my favorite, but basically they're my favorites. But
nothing beats
I've never
chess.
organized them in a top 50, for instance.
Yeah. This was a kind of a hard list. It was nice that, you know, we did do this, pick the 6 best games from each year, and then we can just, I just ran my eyes over them and go blah 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 blah, blah. And then these games just jumped out at me, and I was like, okay, yeah, that one, and that one. Well, that's too many. And so it became a case of, how do I do this? Because you know, is this big epic 4-hour game better than this 30-minute small game? And the case is, basically, on a Monday, yes, it is better than this 30-minute small board game. But on Tuesday, no, the small game is better than this big epic game, because that's what life is. It's not a case of, you know, you definitely want to play this game, because that's what's happened. You know, I definitely wanted to play Shadows of Brimstone the other day, but Robin didn't. And then when Robin wanted to play Shadows of Brimstone, I didn't. It's like... So how do you rank them?
It's actually a really good point. You know, maybe it's even a topic later on for the Babble topic with our Berkey and Badger show. But how often you get to play the games, how that influences your rating of a game. You know, because it's like some of these games I still rate extremely high, but I haven't played them recently.
Yeah.
But I still think of them as a highly rated game. Well, it's getting worse and worse with so many games every year, right? And now longer and longer that we've been in the greater hobby board game industry and seeing all these awesome games that have come out. I mean, it's the thing that really makes me look, when I look at the top 10, if you go to Board Game Geek, for instance, you guys can go there, and what's kind of interesting in there, you can hit the advanced search button, and you can type in a time frame of years, like 2017 to 2017. or any time frame for that matter, and you can get all the listing of all these games that were produced in that given year. Well, that was the basis in which we went and made our favorites. Well, the problem with that is there's so many games that are at the top of the rankings in the board game rankings, and that's a whole nother discussion, but that I know are very good games, but either it's not my kind of game or it's a game that I haven't ever played, but probably should have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly what you're saying.
I mean, if we had played all these games, we could have probably produced a top 10 list of every year at least, rather than doing just our top threes the way we did it. And then we'd have, 150 games to, 100 games to go
down. Yeah.
My list, I started writing, and then I just quit writing after a while, because I go, okay, well, I only can do 5 because we decided to only do a top 5. We should have done a top 10, Badger.
No, five is ample. Five is ample.
No,
so how did you whittle your down then? Because I'll tell you how I whittled mine down.
Okay, that's a good. Basically, it was the ones that I know they're a game that I just want to play at any time, that I think they have staying power. They're still being sold. They're still fondly thought of. They're highly ranked. The mechanisms are still relevant. It's not like they've, in my opinion anyway, that there's something new that's so much better.
Mm-hmm.
That's where was kind of my criteria. And then I had to look through that list, and I just struggled because some of my favorite games are in this list, but I've got 20 names written down here.
Yeah. As I said, I skimmed through my list of everything that we've mentioned on the Evergreen, and about 7 or 8 titles popped out at me. And then I thought, well, I can't make this judgment that easy. So I just looked at my loggings on Board Game Geek, and I just basically put them in the order of the game that I played the most. Now, obviously, that's a bit biased to smaller games because you will play them a lot more because they're like family games, which are easy to get out and get to the table rather than the big epic games. But actually, it worked out quite well for me. So that's how I ranked mine.
I don't know if you folks listening online to this podcast or watching us live right now can hear this, but my roof is being re-roofed, but it's the other side. I don't know if you can hear it in here, but I hear it bouncing. So if you hear some knocking sounds, well, they're pounding on the roof. So I guess go pound nails.
There's a dog outside on your roof going roof.
Rough. Yeah.
Anyway,
okay. That's like my pirate joke, Barry.
It is. Oh no! All right. I came up with a better pirate joke, and I've forgotten it.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no! All right. Well, I tell you what, we might as well just jump right into this show and go for our top 5 from the years 2000, 2011 to 2020 that we think are Woods of Evergreen candidates. So my number
5.
There you go. Number 5. My number 5, I'm trying to see that. For some reason, I'm not seeing the chat. I see the private chat, but not the. Oh, there's the comment button. There we go. So for any of you that join in, feel free to let us know what your thoughts are. We'd love to have you join in the chat if this is live.
Yeah,
and we will also
on your list.
Yes, and we'll be posting on the Board Game Geek Guild 2248. Barry will post a poll and some information like that, so you guys can tell us your favorite games during this period of time. So my number 5 is a game by Uwe Rosenberg, and boy, number 5 was probably the hardest one for me to select because there was so many. And when we get done, I'm going to do a couple little honorable mentions so you realize what I gave up to choose this game. But this game from Uwe Rosenberg is called Feast for Odin.
Okay.
All right. Feast for Odin is one of these games that is classic worker placement in the Uwe Rosenberg style, if you will. But it has this kind of a space relations Tetris mechanism that helps you get extra resources. And when you gain artifacts or you gain different tiles while you're going to, like, I believe it is 64 worker placement spots, where you can go hunting or you can go whaling, you can go traveling on your longboats if you get your resources for that. There's so many different places to go. And when you first look at it, it is like overwhelming to think, oh my goodness, I have this many opportunities to go all these different spots with my Vikings. And then you find out that, man, it's so easy to teach these different spots. And you've got your 1, 2, 3, and 4 columns. So depending on the strength, what you're going to do is going to limit or enhance the benefit of each of those spaces. And it always feels like there's something good that you can do, but there's always an optimal type of move that you can make. You're collecting some of these different cards that'll allow you to modify. There's some little bit of dice rolling, a little bit of random at different spots. But these worker placement spots are so thematic. You're collecting these resources to go to your tile. I don't know if you have a picture there of the tile laying. Everybody has their own tableau, and then you can get additional ones that are unlocked, these different islands, and you're going to get extra points for filling all of these out at the end of the game. And that's really part of the challenge. But that whole worker placement mechanism, and then this other little mini game in a game, if you will, I just love it. I'm a big fan of Uwe Rosenberg. I love his games. I love Caverna, Agricola, Le Havre, those type of games. And Feast for Odin, in my opinion, is my favorite of his games. And I had to include it as number 5.
Yes, there you go. And as you can see, you're looking at my Board Game Geek page. And as you can see, no logged plays, no rating. I haven't played it. What do you mean, oh boy?
Good.
What do you mean, oh boy?
Because it's so good. I know some people that don't like space relations. They don't like that type of mechanism in a game. I have a good friend. His name is Barry, actually, too, and he doesn't like those kind of puzzly piece things. He doesn't like that. But I found it really, really easy and fun to add that to the game.
Yeah, I love Agricola. I will probably get this maybe in some time, but it's like a case of other games just like get me instead. But anywho.
Well, and you've got to feed your people, and you've got these fish, and you've got these big hunks of wood, and these tiles flip over to give you a better one. And I mean, they're just. That was such a quick overview of the game, of course, but it's just, I don't know. It just feels thematic. Feels like you're out there scavenging for food and whale meat and all kinds of stuff that you're doing. So,
yeah. So my number 5 is a Matt Leacock game. Yes, and that would be Era Medieval Age.
That's such a good one.
A kind of roll and write, but you're not writing. You're actually building stuff. In reality, basically, you have these really, really cool buildings, which each have their own little power. And on your turn, you're going to be rolling some dice. Your dice are your workers, and you're going to do Yahtzee style. You roll 3 times. You save the ones that you want to save, and then re-roll the ones that you don't. Although there is some sides on them which you cannot re-roll, and they have like a skull on them, which is a bummer. But at the same time, they do give you a lot more resources than the basic dice do. And then you are enacting, you are collecting those resources and then using those resources to build your city and get it bigger and bigger. And there are some dice which will attack your opponents to your left and your right of you. And you basically got to either have more swords than them or enough shields to defend against them. Otherwise, they steal some of your resources. And you'll do this until X amount of buildings will run out in one of the piles or several of the piles. And that will be the end of the game. And then you count your points for the buildings that you built. If you've managed to build a wall all the way around your city, it doubles the points for all the buildings inside the city. And yeah, that's basically it. I find it really kind of therapeutic building games. I love building games. There's a few more that could have been on my list, but as I said, I rated this on the number of plays, and this one had more plays than any other game of this ilk, which is 16. And most of those have been solo, so about 10 of those I played solo, and then 6 were probably with other players.
You like it solo?
Yeah, it's not too bad solo. It's not great. The good thing is you haven't got to like do a deck of cards and stuff, but it is fluid and pretty quick. It's pretty quick. The combat phase is the thing. But yeah, it's enjoyable. It's gorgeous. I want all the expansions because all these different buildings do different things. They give you different resources or give you different powers. But it is kind of very well balanced in regards to, you could keep getting all these buildings which give you all these dice, but then all these dice needs to be fed. And so you need to produce, as you say, lots of food to keep those people happy. Otherwise you get sadness and death, and then that's negative points. So there you go. My number 5 is Era Medieval Age.
Yeah, I love that game. We've played that a couple times. I have the one expansion, and I think we played the expansion. I'm trying to remember.
What, the river was the one?
Yeah, maybe we haven't played it yet.
All right.
And I have the expansion, but yeah, I totally thought this was great. It gave me that feel of, from Eagle Griffin games. They had, a roll through the through the ages and the Bronze Empire and all that. It gave me kind of that feel, except not having to do that roll and write mechanism. You're actually placing all these things, and I thought it was brilliant. I love that game.
Yeah, I don't like rolling rights, but I like this.
Yeah, I hear you. No, that's kind of the way I feel about it too. Wonderful. Okay. Well, we're going to move on then to number 4.
A number 4.
Number 4. Okay, this was kind of hard too. What do you do? There's so many good games on my list, but this will tell you something about why I put it there, because I generally don't buy a game that is super deluxeified. Okay, there's only a few games that I have that have that super deluxeified approach. Like that isn't on this list because it's a more recent game, but like Foundations of Rome, of course, is like over the top production that I just amazingly love. Takenoko is a game that we enjoy, but they had like a $300 when it first came out, huge wooden version of it. And then now I guess is worth like $1,200. So I should have bought it.
No, it's still worth $300.
It's still worth $300.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but I thought I've seen it going for like $1,200 on eBay and stuff.
Oh yeah. Probably on eBay, but they were selling them at SN last year for about $250, $300.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's my daughter's favorite game. So Gabby would love that. But anyway, I normally don't do that. I like deluxeified stuff. I like to buy the deluxe editions, but usually not those huge ones. But this game, number 4 on my list, because I love this game so much, and we played it a lot in its original form, and I was fine with that, actually. I upgraded some of the little components for it with the Board Game Geek bits and whatnot. But this game is Stefan Feld, who is one of my favorite designers. This game is called Castles of Burgundy. And I got the great big honking deluxeified baby that they put on Game Found.
Nice.
And this version of the game with the acrylic tiles, this is a dice worker placement type of game. You're rolling these dice, you're trying to fit different buildings and different things on your own tableau, filling out regions. But everybody is competing for different spaces on the main board. And this new deluxified treatment is just fantastic. The production, in my opinion, is well worth the price. It just made it so much more enjoyable. You've got some of those special monument places that sometimes if you get that one, you get a extra action, and you start to kind of snowball a little bit with some of those type of acquisitions, if you will. So Castles of Burgundy, I know it's a little bit of random there, but there's different ways to mitigate the dice and to collect the different type of resources to fill out the different regions, to collect the majority of the points, whoever has the most of this one and that one. And I find it kind of difficult to know where everybody else is. You generally can see it, but where everybody else is in their total point scoring, because this is a big point salad game. If at the end of the game, there's always an excitement and anticipation of how close it's going to be. And I find that this game seems to balance out really well like that. So anyway, Castles of Burgundy, the deluxified edition, the regular edition is just fine too, in my opinion. I think it's a great one from Stefan Feld.
Nice.
And the publisher of that now is it's the owner of GameFound. I know what it is. It's a really big company. Come on. You should know it. Awaken Realms, thanks. And they're just doing a big reprint of another old time classic game that's coming out. So it looks like they're kind of going back and picking up some of these older games and deluxifying them and making a few little tweaks to them.
Well, why not? It's not much work.
Yeah, right.
But you can get a lot more money.
Well, these are beloved games, and so people like to have that special thing, that they've acquired. So I think that's kind of cool. Yeah. So that's my number 4.
And your number 4. And my number 4 is a game. Oh, I actually have the T-shirt on from Monolith. And that be Batman Gotham Chronicles, which I've played 24 times. Wow. I love this game. Wow, I played a lot of it, demoing it as well. So, I just think it's a great game, and it captures that kind of Batman feel for me personally, due to the fact that there's dice rolling and there's planning and working as a team, because it is a one versus all. So one person will be controlling the villains, whether it be Joker and his thugs or the Riddler and his thugs, but there's loads of different thugs with different powers and different abilities. And you're going to be given a scenario, given a landscape to conquer, and then both sides just go head to head. The heroes will interact with each other. One Batman jumps into a space and punches out a thug. Robin will fly down and shoot the thug with his batarang a bit further along, and then Batman will go into that same space because he has this extra movement point, which he can go into the car, and then he can deactivate the computer because he's good at handling computers. And this game captures all that. You're using energy cubes to enhance the power of your attack. The more energy you use on an action, the more dice you roll, and the better chances you have of knocking someone out or doing whatever you need to do. This game is gorgeous with the minis. I'm a Batman fan. Most people are Batman fans, I think. And it's just really kind of tense. It is a lot luck driven with the dice rolls. And so you have to be really careful, but otherwise it's a pretty cool combat game, scenario based. And as I said, I'm going to say it again, it's Batman.
Yeah, you played this. You taught us that when you came and helped me that time. You came to America and helped me at BGG Con, and we had that at our house here, and you taught us that game. Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's long, but it's fun.
Yeah, I haven't played it since. It's sitting back there with all the big expansions, and it's one of those games that's hard for me to go back into to learn to teach or to bring it out. And I'm usually not a really big co-op person, but that was a lot of fun, and it's super thematic. I mean, goodness.
Yes, and I'm hoping that
Amazing production.
In a couple of years' time, Robin will be old enough to play it, and he will play that and nothing else for a long time, I think.
Well, that's awesome. Well, before we move on to our number 3, we want to give a quick couple shout outs. Our one of our sponsors is Arcane Wonders, and they've been with the Berkey and Badger Board Game Babble show for a long time. And Arcane Wonders is doing a lot of amazing stuff. They've got a pre-order open right now on their website where they've got the video game Champion that you can go in and pre-order. They also have, do you have that pre-order page up there? You can see a couple of things. You can see that they have, that's fine. You can just scroll through there. They also have, scroll through a couple more for me, for those of you that are watching this here. That's just the video game Champion. The other games that they have on for pre-order. Sorry.
Okay. That's now ready. Games for pre-order. Here we go.
There we go.
What do you want?
So they've got a couple new ones. Yep, you can click on that. And this was interesting when I saw this, that they've actually are bringing Craftwagon Age of Engineering to the North American audiences. They worked out a deal with that game that really had a lot of a buzz. I think Stronghold Games had that before. There's also another one there. There's a couple more on that page real quick. Frozen Frontier Deluxe. I don't know anything about that one, actually. So flip on to that one. They just put these up.
What do you want? Vegetable stock?
Vegetable stock. Yes, they had this at a really quick, fun card game that they had at Gen Con that sold really well. Plus, they've got World Wonders and Mondo and all the new Foundations of Metropolis that you can get. So anyway, check out our friends at arcanewonders.com. And then after our next one, I've got another quick shout out that I want to make to a partner company of ours that is running a Kickstarter. But we'll move right on to number 3.
Number 3.
Et numéro 3.
All right, this was also not a hard decision to have in my top 5, but ranking it was challenging for me. But this here is a game that incorporates a mechanism where you have action selections with the cards that you play down, but then you can pick up these cards and reboot, so to speak, to get all these different abilities. And this game is called Concordia.
Oh.
Now, Concordia has been a long-time family favorite game. We just recently played it at Maddie's birthday time, and you're running around and you're placing your little villages, and you're going to have merchants that you can go and trade these resources that you're getting, but you're going to need resources to build these settlements on these different locations. And you've got your settlers that are running out that can be land settlers, or they can be ocean settlers. We have like 6 different, maybe 8 different maps, and the salt expansion, which incorporates another kind of like a wild resource. So you're getting all these different resources, wine and silk and bricks and all this stuff, and you can trade them. So there's an economy that's there, and you get your sesterces, your money each turn based on when you trade in up on this track. That's where you can go to this market, or basically it's not called the market. Oh gosh, what's that called? The Prestige. When you go up there anyway, you can either get income or you can get resources from those particular countries that you have settlements in, and you're also going to get extra resources from those settlements that you have. And you're trying to have this amazing set collection where, let's say I have 5 of the settlement cards, and then I have 10 settlements on the board. It's going to multiply times 5. And that's going to be the same case for different abilities, like for how many settlers you actually have all out on the board. There's different ones that are for, like, if you have the Vinter, which has all the vineyards, you're going to get extra benefits for that, points for that. And this, again, is one of these games that has a lot of points. And at the end, it's like you never know for sure who's going to win the total points. And you've got these cards that are so cool that, you've got the senator that you're going up to buy these upgraded cards to bring into your hand. Well, then you're getting more cards. We have the expansion too, where you get all these other benefits, where if you have 5 cards that you throw down with your tribune to reset your cards, you can only get this particular benefit, and they change as you take them. But if you wait a little longer, you can get another one. And so there's this tension of when to reset your hand, but sometimes you got to reset your hand because, gosh, I have to get my settler out on the board, or I have to go and I got to get my senators back so I can buy more cards, or whatever the case is. And there's that tension of that push and pull. We love this game. We keep playing a new map every time we do it. It's always a blast. We just love this game. And it was easy for me to be in the top 5, a little more challenging with my next 2, where to rank it in there, because it is so good.
I think I know what your next 2 are. But
all right.
Yeah.
You might.
This is a game that I want to get to the table a lot more. I've only played it twice, but I love the idea. It's very easy to get into. It's very simple, but it's like an area control, resource management, all the things that I really adore. And it's just simple with a deck of cards.
Well, and if you don't get your settlement there first, it costs you more to place a second settlement. Everybody can get a settlement there, but there's a race to get the different ones. And then if you're trying to monopolize the wine or the silk or the brick or the wheat or whatever, there's just that push and pull of who's going to get there first. And, and do you have enough resources to do it, all of that.
Yeah. Okay. Great choice. My number 3, though. My number 3 is a game that I've played 50 times.
Ooh.
Which is, I need to explain 50 times, 50 recordings, basically of an hour or 2-hour gaming session, because this game is ginormous. It's the 7th continent.
Oh, sure.
It's a survival game which could go on for days, or it could last an hour, depending how good you are. But I've got where it lasts for days. You have this island. It's always the same island, practically. And it's made up of cards, and your life points are made up of cards, and all the events and everything that you do is made up of cards. And at the beginning of your game, you're going to choose one of the maledictions, which is your objective to get rid of. And you have to use your memory to remember where things are and explore this island. And as I said, get rid of this malediction before you run out of life points and die. This game is a survival game. There's no two ways about it. You're going to be starting off on a bit of the island, and then you've got things you can do. You can go north, you can go south, maybe west, and then you've got these things that you can see along the way. So you might choose to put your hand inside the hole in the tree to see if there's something in there which is useful, or you could just ignore it and carry on and try and get to your objectives. It's a how do you explain it? It is a game of the more you play, the more you know it, and the more you can invest time into it and use the mechanisms inside the game to become better. And as I said, survive longer and find your objectives and your goals. It's a game of calculating. It's really an extreme kind of adventure game, so to speak. And I've played this mainly solo. I don't play it with 2 or 3 players, which you can do, but yeah, it's a solo experience for me, and it's an enjoyable one, which is now being replaced by the new Seventh Citadel, which is a story, not so much survival, but a story game, an RPG. But anyway, that's my pick for number 3 is the Seventh Continent.
Now you did a music soundtrack for this too, didn't you?
I did indeed, yes.
Yeah, and it's brilliant. We used that when we first were taught this. A friend of mine, Kai, taught us this game, and yeah, we had a lot of fun. It was difficult. It was difficult going through there. There was the choices. They didn't make it easy for you to go through and complete this. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Robinson Crusoe, but better.
It's very open-ended. The amount of things that you can do are infinite. Some of them are restricted to the cards that you have in your hand because these are your ideas and you could probably construct something. But yeah, it is infinitely infinite, and you never know what you're going to run into. You might learn that this flower here will stop bleeding. So like when you get on a space with that plant, if you're bleeding, you can stop it. But in your next game, you might not have that knowledge, so you can't do that. But there's like 100 different things, 100 different creatures, 100 different plants, and their different abilities. So every game that you play is going to be different, although the island is always the same island. And that's the clever thing about it, the mechanisms of the cards that build the island. So yeah, amazing game.
Yeah, really beautiful production too. They did a great job with that. I know people love that game. Well, before I go down to my number 2, I want to just give a quick shout out to our friends at 25th Century Games. Chad Elkin has a deluxe version, the Pharaoh version, and a standard version of the hit game Raw from Reinhard Knizia. And they are on Kickstarter now with a all new expansion. They've got a couple other little games that they're offering in this campaign as well. But one of the things that's super cool, Raw is one of my favorite games. I love Raw. I bought the deluxeified version on their Kickstarter a couple years ago. I thought it was amazing how they re-implemented that. The Vincent Dutray art is amazing. Well, nonetheless, we made an ancient Egypt map. In fact, I think I have it right back there, actually. Yeah, sitting right there. That map is like fantastic. One of my favorite thematic maps from Game Toppers. And I sent Chad one just for giggles. He has one of our Game Toppers, and I sent him a 3-foot by 6-foot ancient Egypt because I knew it was going to be perfect, and I thought he just would love it and have fun. He called me back, goes, "Berkey, this is so perfect." Well, once he was showing some pictures of the game pre-marketing the campaign, and the mat was on there. So we talked for a while. And he said, "Well, why don't we offer it to your backers at a, I'll work out a deal for you so you can offer it to them in a 3x4 and a 3x5 size." And it's so perfect with this game Raw. They're already at like $160,000 on Kickstarter. It's only been out for a couple days. There's only like 15 days left on the campaign. It's a short campaign. But not only can you get this amazing deluxeified version of the auction bidding game Raw, you also can get a deluxeified mat. And he took all the stops out where you get the storage bag and the mat and some discounted shipping on it. So you got to go check out this Kickstarter for 25th Century Games, the game Raw, and some of the expansions. If you love that type of mechanism, I think you might want to check this one out. Some great prices on it too. I was really amazed at how well he's doing this campaign. It's super cool. So that's our just a shout out to my friend Chad. And we are going to go to my number 2.
Number 2.
Well, so Barry, I'm going to let you guess.
Okay. It's quite obvious that it is going to be Blood Rage.
I thought maybe you would flip flop my 1 and 2 because you probably know then what my number 1 is then.
Yeah.
I struggled with it. Blood Rage used to be my number 1 of all time. The reason it got bumped is just because of my number 1 is being played so much more, and I adore both these games. They could both be tied for number 1, but Blood Rage, I don't know. This has got all that Viking bravado, area control, monsters, building your rage, building your, your little track where you're going. You've got this drafting mechanism where you're drafting these cards, and there's this hidden fog of war type of thing that you're doing with when you have these battles, and you've got movement and variables. And I have a deluxeified painted version that Rob Oren painted for me many years ago. I have a deluxe insert for it, and I have the playmat. It's fantastic. We play it on our great big Viking mat from Game Toppers, and these monsters, the characters that you have that add a little extra to your area control. What's weird about it is I'm not that great at this game. It's not like I win this game all the time, but of all the Eric Lang games, from Cool Mini or not, whether it was Onk, I like Onk. The other one, not the Egypt one, but the Asian game. What was the name of it?
Rising Sun.
Rising Sun. I so much wanted to love Rising Sun because it felt like Blood Rage by the production. But when I played it, I didn't like it the same way. I didn't like the moving mechanisms, and it was just challenging for me. A couple of the different things with that game that I just didn't like it like I like Blood Rage. In fact, I got rid of my copy of Rising Sun, sadly. But Blood Rage, all-time favorite game of all time until just recently. I just decided to change it because I'm just not playing it as much as I want to. But it's still a fantastic game.
A big contributing factor is time to play the game.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
that too. Yeah. Hey, we got Rick O is here. Hey, Rick, good to see you in the chat. So you're number 2. This show is going a little longer than normal.
Oh, yeah. It's lucky we didn't do 10 then, wasn't it? I'll make this one very quick then. Number 2 for me is Splendor. Quick playing 30-minute game for me. I love the challenge of calculating a route to success by taking gems and by using those gems to buy mines, which you then use to get gems, which are the cards themselves, to get points to get to the top and win those lords and duchesses. This game is just super, super light. As I said, a 30-minute game. Played it, more than 50 times. I'll have a look in a sec. But I played this game a lot, and it's just a calculating game. 63 times. Wow. As you said, on your turn, you're either taking 3 gems which are different colors, or 2 of the same color, or you're using gems that you have to buy a mine which has a gem with it and maybe some points, and then these cards produce gems automatically, and it's just this engine building game which is super, super fun. I got the expansion. I'm not too keen on it, but the base game itself is just one of those great games, and it's one of those great games that I've sleeved because it's so good.
It's such a great gateway game too. It's so easy to teach, family type of thing, and we have the I taught it, and then the people liked it so much I just actually gave it to them. And then I bought another copy and gave it away to someone else. And then I got the Marvel version of it, which I just like even a little better. My grandson, Philip, he loves playing that one.
Yeah, I'm sure Robin would as well. And I mean, I've already taught Robin Splendor. We've played Splendor with Robin. And he picked it up. But, when you lose, it's just like, I don't want to play this anymore. But yeah, I love this game mainly because it's a game that I can beat most people with as well. So I have my plan, my technique of, and I'm always kind of quick as well. So it's like I know what I'm going to do about 2 or 3 steps ahead. So 3 turns ahead, I know what I'm going to do on my third time. So it's like,
sure.
It's one of those games that I'm proud of being good at.
Yeah, fun game, and it's big time sales. So yeah, it's out there.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into our number one, a quick shout out to Game Toppers LLC, our sponsor, and of course, I'm heavily biased about this company because I own it. We just finished our 4.5 Galactic Kickstarter. And what was fun about this campaign was we introduced our new Galactic acrylic rails that could be interchangeable with the fantasy D&D themed rails for our Mycroft and now our Watson toppers. So these here are super cool that can be interchangeable, and we're going to have new designs in the future to provide flexibility in the military grade aluminum, where you can put different inlays in here to have thematic elements. They're gorgeous, super cool application, very affordable. And then likewise, we have a bunch of package deals. The campaign is over, but you can still late pledge and get in on most of the goodies that we offered during the campaign. And one of the big things that we did on the campaign is we offered our brand new terrain packs. And the terrain packs are for miniature war game made out of neoprene, amazing road systems. We have these amazing rivers. We also have you'd probably have to go to the Kickstarter page to show some of those assets. They're not going to show on the website that much. But these terrain packs and the new terrain mats, they're absolutely gorgeous. From Jay Solansky, just did an amazing job. In addition to that, we have the new Galactic Deck Builder mat that is perfect for Star Wars Unlimited, perfect for Star Realms, the new Star Trek deck builder, and Star Wars, the deck building game. Just super cool. And we have all these mat bundles where you get double mat bundle and even a 4 mat. If you want to get 4 of our mats, we have 32 different designs that you get 4 of them. You get a 5th one absolutely free. And the 4 mat bundle is already discounted and huge savings on shipping and all that. Crazy bunch of 15 like stretch goals were unlocked. You can still take advantage at GameToppersLLC.com, or you can go to the Kickstarter page and hit late pledge. Our Shopify web store at shop.gametoppersllc.com. Hit late pledge, and you can get all these new goodies. And you can also get stuff that's shipped immediately through our web store. So check out all those new innovations. We hope you would enjoy those at GameToppersLLC.com. And now, my number one.
And finally, number one.
Number one. So you know what it is there, don't you, Bear?
Oh yeah, I forgot to put it up. It's that card game that you're quite good at. Was it Clank, the deck building game?
No, it's not Clank, the deck building.
No, it's not Clank, the deck building. It means that it must be this little doozy, which is...
There it is. Baseball Highlights 2045 by Eagle Griffin Games and Mike Fitzgerald, one of my favorite designers. As we've talked about this game a lot, but I love this game. I'm currently the world's champion of this game that I won at Origins here last year. It looks like we're going to have a tournament at BGG Con, so I'm excited about that. Ooh. But this game has several expansions, and it has this asymmetrical back and forth type of card play where you have 3 different factions. You have the robots, you have the cyborgs, and you have the naturals. The naturals, this is when baseball started losing favor, and essentially they came out with robots to spice up the game and to get more interest in the game. And then the humans couldn't keep up, so they got cybernetic implants. But then there were certain naturals who could really compete with them. And a natural card might be canceled by a cyborg, or a cyborg might cancel, or a robot generally has a lot of offense, but they also have defensive abilities. So some of them have both. And you're getting this deck building 15 card hand, and you're playing 6 of those cards each time in a little mini series of 7 games. And you're playing your card, you're threatening hits. The other person's going to be able to react to it with their cards. And whoever reacts the best and has a good combination of defensive plays and offensive plays. I find that this game is very simple to teach. I can actually sit down and teach this with the game in front of me very easily to someone so that it's reasonably quick. You don't have to be a sports fan to like this game. The mechanisms are so amazing. It's helpful to know how base runners run. That's about the only thing that makes that you have to have baseball knowledge of. And that's even very simple to teach. The cards are fantastic. The art is great. I love this game. I will play this game with anyone, anytime. I teach this game. I don't remember a time that I've ever taught this game that someone hasn't said, "Oh, I got to go get a copy of this." And I love it so much. On our last Kickstarter, we actually got an agreement with Eagle Griffin for us to make a premium Baseball Highlights 2045 play mat with our 3mm stitched edge, and it's a double tournament play mat for $39 you can get on our Kickstarter. That being said, I love it. I'm even going to have a promo card, Berkey Pocket, in the new edition that's coming out, that's going to be shipping out to backers in not too long.
Cool.
So way cool. I got the Commissioner Ralph trophy, and Ralphie just has been loving his time with Berkey.
And traveling around.
Blake Green is here. He says, go ahead and you can answer this one, my friend.
Not to interrupt. When you get a moment, Badger, what is a board game musician? Aha!
Yeah, okay. Good point.
I'm somebody that makes music for board games. I have soundtracks which are available to stream on Spotify, and they've been, allowed by the publishers of the board game. So there's a soundtrack for Abyss. There's a soundtrack for Titan from Holy Grail Games. There's a soundtrack for Claustrophobia from Monolith. And there's also the Seventh Citadel and the Seventh Continent soundtracks. I also do work for role-playing games. I am working for Sirenscape, who do soundtracks and sounds effects for all their Dungeons and Dragons, Call of Cthulhu, Pathfinder, Starfinder, and all that stuff. So that's what a board game musician is. I'm someone that makes music for board games, and hopefully will continue to do so for many years.
And you've done some on your own, like Last Light, which is a zombie theme, kind of eerie background soundtrack that you can use for a variety of different games.
Yep, and I've done a lot of work for Lucky Duck as well. So Chronicles of Crime, the Destinies, So they all use an app with their board game. So yeah, there's my music and sound effects all in there as well. So there you go. Hope that answers your question, Blake. Any other questions? Let me know.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff. He does great work. They're really cool. Well, really well done. Well, what is your number one, sire?
Are you going to guess?
Oh, Arkham Horror.
Wrong year.
No. Oh, that Viticulture. I should have known.
You should have known. 72 plays. So it's my most played game, record as Board Game Geek says. But Viticulture. It's a worker placement game where you're working in a vineyard, which is a job that I did when I first moved to France. And it doesn't capture it perfectly, but it gives me that sensation of, planting vineyards and then recolting the fruit and then turning it into wine. Not that I did all that. All I did was prune and weed and stuff. But yeah, this game is not that simple to teach. It's quite simple to teach. You just say you place your worker there and that's the action you get. But then it comes into the complication of, if I go there and I block that space, nobody else can do that this turn, especially if you're playing with certain number of players. But yeah, the base game itself is okay. I prefer playing with a couple of the expansions to
that
bump it
Tuscany
up.
expansion was really cool.
Yeah. So having buildings and having the special workers which have special powers, and what else is there? Then there's the
Well, that time element that that you have to ferment the wine, to go from one stage to the next, and then getting those recipes,
yeah,
of different kinds, whether it was champagne or rosé or
yeah.
and all those player cards that give you those extra abilities. I thought was really cool
having all the
too.
extra cards as well, it makes it a bit kind of uneven, but it does work. It's not a perfect game, but it's pretty good, and I enjoy the sensation that it gives me of building up an industry, building up a company, having this building built, and then that building built, and that gives me the bonus. But if someone else is going off and just planting vines after vines after vines and getting lots more grapes than me, and then it's that race to get the points to sell the wine to the customers and steal those spaces away, and again, it has that kind of the turn order, which is totally arbitrary. Each turn, you can choose which order you want, which time you want to get up, so to speak, as the rules state it. You can get up later in the day, which means that you're the last player to place a worker, or you can get up first thing. And the benefits that you get for being the last player are more powerful than the ones that you get if you're the first player. So there's like this push and pull, and then there's other things to do, like sell the land, which is a nice little expansion where you can sell the land, get that bit of money at the beginning, and then buy it back later on because you need to expand your business. And the more expansions you add, the more different routes there are to winning the game, which is, I think, why the expansions work better than just playing with the base game, because it is a kind of a one-way route to win the game. But
well, and there's that race, it's Stonemeyer Games. He has that euphoria. Everybody's racing that last minute to get there, and then all of a sudden, it's over.
Yeah, it's a very slow build. Nobody would score points for many, many rounds. And then all of a sudden 1 point comes, 4 points, and then 7 points, and then 20 points, and it's over. It gets very exciting. It starts very slow and repetitive, but it gets exciting as you all fight.
I love that game too. It's great. We made the Roman mat, for Foundations of Rome, but we purposely kept the whole center of the mat all vineyards, and it's kind of a lighter area, so it like goes perfect for viticulture.
Yeah. I mean,
that was deliberate.
I was going to play it the other day. I got it out and I was looking through it all, and I'm going, I need some more sleeves. Some of these cards don't have sleeves.
Oh yeah.
I was like, why is that?
Well, I tell you what, I'll go through my quick rundown of my 5, and you can do your 5. My number 5 was Feast for Odin, great worker placement game from Uwe Rosenberg. Number 4 was Castles of Burgundy, a Stefan Feld game from Awakened Realms, the deluxeified version. Number 3 was Concordia. Gotta love it. That's Egispila, I believe. And then number 2 was Blood Rage from Cool Mini or Not, Eric Lang game. And my number 1 game of all time during these 10 years that I think stand the test of time is Baseball Highlights 2045, Eagle Griffin Games, and Michael Fitzgerald.
Yes. And my top 5 for this decade is number 5, Era Medieval Age by Matt Leacock. Batman Gotham City Chronicles by Frédéric Henry. The Seventh Continent by Bruno Sauter and Ludo Splendor is my number 2 by Marc-André, and Viticulture is my number 1 from Jamie Stegmaier.
Jamie Stegmaier.
Yeah, and Alan Stone.
Well, this was a super fun game, super fun show, recapping our Woods of Evergreen. We're going to put Woods of Evergreen now on hold for a while because we went to year 2020. We're going to wait to to reboot this after a few years, and we'll see if we're still doing podcasts then.
Yeah. There's no
You
point
know?
doing the Woods of Evergreen in 2024 because
Exactly. Who knows yet? Sometimes
Yeah.
you know, sometimes you don't, but
Yeah.
it becomes more of a first impression scenario. But nonetheless, we are going to have a new segment that we're going to be developing called To Cull or Not To Cull. And this will be where we talk about games that we've played that we're either keeping in our collection or getting rid of. They could be older games, they could be newer games. And we're going to kind of go through that little fun scenario talking about games that we've played recently and or in the past that we're either culling or keeping. So that being the case, we will have that in a more short format. This show went a little bit longer, but normally half an hour, 40-minute show. But we will have on the 18th, we're planning another Berkey and Badger Board Game Babble show. And you can check us out on our Facebook page, Twitter, X, or our YouTube channel, or Board Game Geek Guild 2248, and just type in Berkey and Badger. You'll find us, and we can help you all out with whatever we're coming up with next. And thanks again to our sponsors, Arcane Wonders. Check them out at arcanewonders.com. Check out 25th Century Games Kickstarter Raw. And of course, you can late pledge for GameToppersLLC.com.
Cool. Until then, ciao for now.
Thanks everybody for listening. Appreciate it.
Push the right button.
We're so glad we had this time together. Now it's time to go. It won't be long until we have another show. So keep us in mind, get online. Berkey and Badger will be back in no time.
In no time.
Bang, bang.
Done.
That knocking stopped.
Were you hearing it a lot?
I think it was only in like number 2 and number 1.
Yeah, I heard them. I think they were stapling the paper